Well, everybody, welcome to Police Systems. What you're watching now is the introductory video for the course. While you're watching this video, please pay close attention. There is an introductory quiz that will be covering this video and the APA plagiarism video that you have to make a 100% on to move on in the course. It's an online course. The only way I can really tell that you have an idea of what's going on is to have a introductory quiz that lets me know that you know what's required of you. So kind of take notes. Don't fret a whole lot over it. You get multiple attempts to make 100%. You don't have to do it the first time, but you probably want to do it the first time. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. For those of you who have not taken courses from me before, my name is Craig Foss. I'm the department chair of the Criminal Justice Department here at Alvin Community College. Just to give you a little background on myself, I'm a retired career police officer. I spent 34 years as a full-time police officer, first being commissioned as a reserve deputy constable back in 1977, and then went full-time for a brief period of time as a full-time officer with the Beaumont Police Department. I didn't like Beaumont. And I'd applied in Galveston before Beaumont. They called me and offered me the job, so I jumped at it. I really liked Galveston, spent 21 years there. Most of that career was spent in the identification division, which is the crime scene department. I was a fingerprint examiner, worked lots of crime scenes. Was working during the gang wars of the late 80s, early 90s, when crime was about 3 times what it is today. So you think crime is bad now, you should have lived in the late 80s, early 90s. We also I spent another year as a auto theft detective. Spent about 3 years on patrol as a patrolman and another year on patrol as a patrol sergeant. And then I spent some time doing computer programming. I was a polygraph examiner, did a little bit different things. It was a very good experience, great department to work for. But I retired and went to work for the Dickinson Police Department. They hired me as a detective, mainly for my forensic work, but then I did, kind of as a side thing, I did fraud. That was the one crime that actually went up and not down in the last couple decades, mainly because of technology. It's easier to commit fraud today with the internet and other various computer means. So it's just kind of a easier thing. Once had a forgery suspect who had been a burglar. We caught him forging, and I asked him why he switched to forgery. He said he broke into a house and during the day, and the owner was home, and it scared him. He said when he goes in to cash a forged check, he didn't have to worry about somebody sticking a gun in his face. The homeowner didn't stick a gun in his face when he burglarized the place, but the fear was still there. I give you a little bit about my academic background. I understand for some of you if it's taking you a while to get your associate degree. I started college at the University of Houston right out of high school in 1975. And suffice it to say, I wasn't the most motivated student. They had a student center, the UC underground student center actually, that had pinball machines, and I was in classes that had over 100 students. And if I were winning games in the pinball machines, you get free game. You can't leave a free game. I didn't always make the class. Don't do that. That wasn't a wise decision. Actually, I didn't get my associate degree that I started or my 2-year degree that I started in 75 until late 1982. Became a little more motivated and was going to go on to get my bachelor's degree from the University of Houston in Clear Lake, criminology program. That's probably part of the reason I didn't continue it more quickly, because criminology is just not my favorite area. I prefer criminal justice. The science versus the practical is about the thing. I like the practical, not the science behind it type situation. But while I was there, a young lady named Alicia came to visit and took my house from me. Hurricane Alicia struck in 1983. So I was going to take a year off to rebuild, and that year turned into about 23 years. It wasn't until I went to LEMIT, the Law Enforcement Management Institute of Texas. One of the instructors was a professor at Midwestern State, which is a public university in Wichita Falls, Texas, and he talked about their online program. My daughter was in high school, and I figured, hey, it's a good opportunity to me to finish my degree and say, hey, you need to finish your college degree because your dad did. So I did. I'd also promised my dad when I told him I wanted to be a police officer that I would finish my education, and he was getting on in years, so I figured I'd better do it before he died, and I did. He passed away about 2 years after I graduated, so he didn't see me get my master's, but he did see my bachelor's degree, and him and my daughter both went to my graduation. That's the only time I was on campus, by the way, at Midwestern State. I then continued. I found I liked school a lot more as a more mature adult than I did as a younger adult, so I went to the Sam Houston State's master's program. It was a weekend program. You went once a month on Saturday and Sunday for 2 years, a year round, and I got my master's degree and started teaching at University of Phoenix. Students here are much better students, by the way, and came up here for a recruiting trip for the Dickinson Police Department. One of my jobs right before I retired was working in the hiring process, and recruiting was part of that. And I found that the department chair for the Criminal Justice Department had retired, and they had an opening. On a whim, I put in an application, and they offered me the job. So I had to make a decision real quick. Excuse me. And I decided to take it. I'm happy I did. I really enjoy working with the students here, and it's an opportunity to impart with some of the knowledge that I've gained through the years, and it's kind of getting a little burned out on the other side of the field. I can say without a doubt that I am very happy in the career choice I made, and I would do it again if I could. So now let's go ahead and talk about the course, and we'll start with the fact that this is an online course. It's a 16-week program. You need to set aside time each week to do work on the course. It is not a self-paced class. I'm going to say that a couple times throughout this presentation. I want to emphasize it is not a self-paced class. You can work ahead. You can complete the entire course within 1 or 2 weeks if you want, with the exception of doing follow-up posts to other people's discussion posts. You'll have to go back and do those, but you can take every test, turn in your required paper and so forth as soon as you want. But there are hard deadlines, so you can go ahead of time, but you can't go behind time. If you don't get all your material turned in each week, then if it happens too often, your grade will suffer. You'll use letter grades off of your final grade to the point where you'll fail if you have too many of them. So, but we'll talk about that when we get to the attendance. So let me get out of the way. And when you log into Blackboard, you actually should come up onto the dashboard page. There's the landing page here. Here there'll be class announcements if I announce changes. For the online classes, generally speaking, the schedule stays pretty much the same. Usually not a whole lot of problems. My face-to-face classes, there are occasionally weather conditions that cause the campus to close because of ice on the highway. I think I've had 3 or 4 of those occur. Obviously not early in the fall semester, but later on and early in the spring semester that occurs. There's usually not ice on the information highway, so barring an event like Hurricane Harvey that completely shuts the area down, the schedule will stay pretty much the same. But if we do change it, there will be announcements here, so you can kind of look for those. There's a to-do list. Let me let you know right now, because of the way the course is set up, there aren't deadlines set for due dates are not set in Blackboard, so you're not going to get a due date notice. You're going to have to look at the course outline and the weekly content to see what's due each week. We'll go ahead to the Start Here page, and on this page we start with the syllabus, which we're going to go over in just a second. We've got the course schedule. Now let me tell you about the course schedule. The way the attendance module works in this course is that once a week on Monday I have to record the attendance for that week. So for the week of the first week, in this case that's on the screen, the 2019 schedule, and it's going to vary from year to year, so if you're the dates are going to be a little bit different if you're watching this in a course later on. The two items that were due, there's an introduction, and there's quite a few things on the introduction, and you have a discussion due, the introduction and paraphrase discussion that are due that week. For scheduling purposes, I've got them for Monday and Wednesday. In actuality, Thursday I will be checking to make sure that you met your deadlines, and if you've met them all, I go back on the Monday attendance module and mark you present. If you didn't get them all done, say you took the introductory quiz, but you forgot to do the paraphrase exercise, and I would mark you as late. If you're late twice during a semester, it counts as the same as an absence. And if you've got too many of these absences, then you're letter grade. We're going to talk about this more when we get to the syllabus and get to the attendance module, but I want you to kind of look at that when you look at the schedule. So if something is due on Monday or Wednesday, and you get the item due on Monday completed before midnight on Wednesday, or actually Thursday morning when I check things. By the way, I tend to get up earlier than most of you. I get up around 5 and run, and occasionally we'll start looking at course material right after my run. So if you want to get it done as close to midnight on Wednesday as possible. If it's done then, I'm going to count it as done during that week and count it on time. So I put these Monday, Wednesday dates on here to just kind of give you kind of a goal to get these things done, so you don't come Wednesday night and suddenly you've got chapter 1 and chapter 2 to complete in the discussion and a couple quizzes, and then you kind of run out of time. So the next thing on here, I've got my office hours. The best way to contact me is by email, because I will respond to emails at night. I generally going to be a lot easier to get by email than by phone. But if you call during my office hours and I'm not out on doing some work with the police academy or in one of the meetings that we have going on, I will respond to you. But for most things, you want to send me an email, and it'll just generally work out better. Email needs to come from your college email address and not your personal email address. If I notice that you sent me something from your personal email address, I've got a canned response that I will send back to you saying, I cannot respond to a personal email's address. Please, resend this question or your concern through the college email. It's a matter of college policy that's based upon the FERPA, the School Privacy Act, that says we've got to be sure of who we're sending information to. So be sure to do that by email. The other thing about email, I've generally teach 6 courses and have up to 25 students in each one of those courses. If you don't tell me what class it's about, it sometimes takes me a while to figure it out, particularly if you've got more than one course of mine. I may be looking for the information in the wrong one. So in your subject line, just put the course, either the course number or the course name, something that will indicate which course you're talking about. Next thing on this page is the textbook. It is available at the bookstore, or you can order it online, or you can get it, get a digital version. I would recommend the digital version, particularly when you're studying, doing the discussion questions, which are actually test reviews. It's a lot easier to do, put a couple key terms in there and search it in the book than kind of spend the time looking through the indexes and so forth. So it can be very helpful. It's your choice. If you're using a digital book, when it comes to test time, and we use a video monitored proctoring system, and somewhere in there indicate to me at the beginning that during there's a little video test at the beginning that you are using a digital version of the book, or you're going to have it on a separate computer, because you're not going to be allowed because of the lockdown procedure on the browser won't allow it. So you can pull up the book on your phone or whatever. But let me know, so I don't think you're using Google. You can't use Google, but you can use your digital book. Okay, so we go back to the syllabus. If you click on the syllabus, it will open in a new screen. It takes a second to load, so I've got it already open. Most of this is standard information, the course number, 48-hour course. It'll tell you what year and so forth. Again, I've got to note that this is not a self-paced course. You've got hard deadlines. You must meet the hard deadlines. So I'm going to keep repeating that. I don't want anybody to come, I didn't know about that. You have to know about it. It's really important. Major exams must be taken in a proctored setting, and that's the general way, the preferred way of doing it is on your personal computer or a friend's computer with Respondus Lockdown Monitor or Respondus Monitor software on it. It does require a webcam and microphone. It doesn't have to be an expensive camera and microphone. The one I've got on this computer right now is a Logitech. It was actually it's a college purchase computer. It's a little bit better than you need. I mean, probably not the greatest in the world, but you can get them that will work, sufficient to take the test for less than $10 at Walmart. When you look at the price of the book, it's really not that much. And if not, I think the library here at the college has some for you to check out. I don't, it's probably be much more convenient to buy your own. Many computers have them built in. I know my computer at home and my laptop that I use both have them already built in, so I don't have to add anything. The first thing in the syllabus, and most of the syllabus is standard template syllabus for the college, so we won't spend a whole lot of time going over those issues. But the first thing it does talk about is the electronic communication through the students will be through the college email, and again, that's your username at student@alvincollege.edu email address. I won't tell you, sometimes people will email me and I may not catch that it's coming from a personal email. But if I do, I'm going to email you back telling you that you need to send me the email through the college email account. So just kind of keep that in mind. I got phone numbers if you got technical problems and so forth that you can call. I've also got my phone number here. If you leave me an email, again, tell me which course you're talking about and give me a good number to call you back. Probably a good idea to send a follow-up email because particularly online classes, I generally check my email at home. Not every night, but most nights up until about 9:30, 10 o'clock, and I will respond to emails depending on what's going on at the time. Then otherwise, I'll get back with you as soon as I see them. Next thing on here is the course description. And it examines the establishment, role, and function of police in a democratic society. We'll focus on types of police agency, their organizational structure, police community interaction, police ethics, and use of authority. Learning outcomes, to describe types of police agency and explain the role of police in America within the context of democratic society. Describe the means and methods utilized to ensure police accountability. explain the historical development of policing, describe the selection process for police officers, and then compare and contrast structures, policies, strategies, and tactics employed to ensure police effectiveness, efficiency, and equity. And again, there are no prerequisites or co-requisites for this course. The textbook information, I already mentioned it earlier, and you can find it at the school bookstore or online. And I again, check with the school bookstore. They do offer online versions of the book and all-inclusives and all. There are a lot of different things that can be helpful. Course outline just talks about the chapters that we're covering in your book. We're going to be covering approximately a chapter a week. We've got, I think, 1 week with 2 chapters, and then the rest are single chapters per week. Another look at the outline for the course, and again, it is subject to change, but I will let you know. This course is online, but it does require that you complete a research paper and present it to the class. That presentation for the class will be on Wednesday, again, depending on the semester, the exact date, but it's done at 4 in the afternoon till, I've got an afternoon session at 4 and then an evening session at 6. If you are unable to make it to class or to campus for that presentation, there is an alternative method to present. Or actually, a couple alternatives. One is to present it to one of my face-to-face classes if you happen to be in one of those classes. That happens. A lot of students will do that. The other is to present it by videotape, and that would be done before 3 or 4 students, and then I've got a link where you upload your video. But we'll talk about that more when we get to the exam. To the research paper. I've got a research paper video that you can watch on that. The next thing on the syllabus is there are going to be 3 major exams that have 50 multiple choice questions each. There is also a final exam with 80 questions. The final will be comprehensive. Those additional 30 questions are going to be the comprehensive part, and they come from the quizzes that you take throughout the semester. If your assignments are late, the only assignment that we're really referring to here is your research paper. If you turn it in late, you lose 10 points for each day it's late. The other quizzes and so forth, if you're late on those items, then you're going to have some issues with grade reduction because you only have so many lates. We're going to get to that information shortly. The research paper is going to be 1,000 to 1,500 words in it. There are 2 different options for the research paper. We will talk about those when we get back to the Blackboard session. You need to participate in the discussions. That's worth a discussion grade. Plagiarism is something that is not going to be tolerated. That includes self-plagiarism. Turning in a paper that you wrote for another class is self-plagiarism and is not acceptable. Again, you've got a research paper to do. There is a plagiarism and APA video that follows this video you need to watch, and that will give you much more information on this. Grading summary, the major exams are worth 15% of your grade each. Your final exam is worth 20% of your grade. That research paper and presentation is worth a total of 10% of your grade. But it's also worth 100% because if you don't do a research paper and you don't present it, then you cannot pass the course. In fact, you have to complete every test, the final exam, participate in every discussion, and take every quiz in order to pass the course. If you miss one of them and don't do it, then you're going to fail the course. So this is a do everything course. Even if it's late, get it done. Now, if it's late, if a lot of things are late, you will end up losing grade points. We're going to get to the attendance in just a second. If you're going to withdraw, before you withdraw, talk to your advisor. There can be some consequences of withdrawal, including you're only allowed to do 6 withdrawals during your academic career. And then you also could have some implication on your financial aid. So kind of look at that. If you don't like your final grade, there is a grade appeal process. You can find more information out in the ACC catalog, and well, hopefully you're all going to make A's, so you're not going to have a problem with that. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, attendance is recorded here on Mondays of the week because it's an online class. We are an attendance-taking institution, and it is a requirement for us to participate in the financial aid programs that allow a lot of students to go to school. So we will take attendance, and we kind of don't have any control over that. So in online classes, you're not really here on campus. So how do we do it? Well, we do it by, in my course at least, by setting deadlines for you to complete things. And as I told you earlier, if everything that is done during the week is completed by the time I check on it on early Thursday morning, so make sure it's done before you go to bed on Wednesday night, then if everything's done that week, you're counted as present. If you do just one assignment that week, you'll be counted as late. Or if you do all but one of the assignments that week, you'll be counted late. So you don't get everything done, it's late. And then the third option is if you don't do anything that was due that week, you're counted as absent. Now, 2 lates equal 1 absent for the sake of our grade reductions. If you have if you are marked as the equivalent of more than 3 absences, you'll lose 1 letter grade on your final exam. So let's say you didn't do any work for 3 weeks, and then the 4th week you did some of the work but not all of it. That is going to be marked as a late. So you've actually got 3.5 absences. Well, you're going to lose a letter grade because you've got more than 3 absences. If you have got 7 weeks where you're late, and that's a lot of weeks. You're only 16 weeks in the semester. If you've got 7 weeks where you're late with material, that comes to the equivalent of 3.5 absences. You lose a letter grade. You lose, if you've got 4.5, then you will lose 2 letter grades, and so forth and so on. So just kind of keep that in mind. Get everything done on time. You can work ahead, but you can't work behind. The rest of this syllabus is going to be the standard syllabus form. Be sure to read it so you kind of familiarize yourself with it. But we'll now go back to the course and look what else we've got going on. Okay, so the next area we're going to look at is the weekly content. And this is the section where you see what's going on each week. As you scroll down, there are folders for each week's material. Week 1 talks about, I'll have a weekly update video each week, usually on a Thursday or Friday mornings is usually when I'll record that, where I'm going to talk about what we did last week, what we're going to do the coming week, what's due, things like that you can watch. And that will be posted at the top of each of these, inside the folders. There will be different videos, different assignments that are due, so kind of look through all of those. This first week, we've got the introduction video that you're watching right now, the APA video below it. There's a navigating Blackboard video if you're not familiar with the way my classes are set up, you can watch. Then you need to take the introductory quiz, and you will need to use Respondus Lockdown browser on this one and pass it with 100%. We're going to open up that folder in just a minute, and now I will kind of show you where that video is. And then you have to participate in 2 different discussion boards. One of them is the Introduce Yourself, where you're going to talk about yourself, what your major is, and so forth. And you have to do follow-up posts to that. And then next you have the a paraphrase discussion. You don't have to do follow-ups on this. You just kind of paraphrase a news article. read everybody else's, and you can see the differences in the way people paraphrase things. It won't take you that long to read them. And finally, you got to select your research paper topic. And as you go through each week, you will see that what is due that week will be visible to you. The thing about it, it will not be visible to you if you don't complete the material that was for the week before. So, for instance, on week 2, I'll click on it now. All the material will be visible because I am in the teacher's mode right here. But now I'm going to click off into the student mode. And as soon as it gets into the student mode, we'll go back to the weekly content and look at week 2. You'll notice there's no videos. They will not be visible to you until you have completed the requirements for the previous chapter or taken the previous exam, when you're talking about the first chapter after an exam is due. So we go over to the week 1. Everything will be visible because there's no requirements, previous requirements. You didn't have a previous week. You watch the video here, which is the one you're watching now, the APA plagiarism video. You're going to have to take the introductory quiz with Respondent's Lockdown Browser. If you're not familiar with it and have not downloaded, here's a link to download it, and then a short video where you can watch on how it works. And eventually that will start playing, or not. There it goes.
Well, okay, everybody, in this short video, I'm going to show you how to launch.
There you go. So you watch that. If you're not familiar with it, then you will take the introductory quiz with the Lockdown Browser, and you will get the 100% on it, or move on. If you don't get 100% on it, you'll take it again. Below that, I've got a link to the research paper tab. We're going to pull that up in just a minute. And then we're going to, then I've got the video I talked about on the blackboard. If you've taken my courses before, you really don't need to watch this. If you're not familiar with the way I set it up, you can watch it. And there's the paraphrase exercise, where you'll just read this and then click on the paraphrase exercise link and start a new tab with your name in it, a new topic. So you just click on here. You have to create a thread. Then in here you'd put your name, and then you would paraphrase it. So again, when you watch the video, you'll understand what I'm talking about. So that will kind of get you done. Now let me get back out of here. That covers what you have the first week. We'll talk a little bit about the future discussions in a minute, but first we'll go ahead and click on this research paper tab so we can talk about what you have to do, and you actually have 2 different options. And here is the research paper tab, and that link needs to be fixed. It was pointed to the wrong location. So let me back up and get to the right location in the right semester, and I found a link I need to fix. So I will get that fixed before the course starts. First thing you've got 2 different options for this research paper for this course. It's a traditional research paper on a topic that you select from a list of topics, only one person per topic. I don't want to have 25 presentations on the same subject. It kind of gets boring. Or you can do a patrol observation paper where you ride on patrol with a local police agency, either a sheriff's department or municipal police department. You'll write about your experience, but you'll also do research on the department, and we'll talk about that in a minute. I've got a little video that will show you all about it. So, hello everybody, in this video. So that's about all I'm going to say about it, other than that you'll actually have to do research on the department and or research on your topic. The research paper on the topic, here's several topics you can choose from, and then there's templates. And again, you watch the other video, it goes into a lot more detail. Your presentation research paper topic selection. You just click here, fill the information in. Again, watch the other video. It tells you a lot more in depth about that information. Okay, so we'll go back to the weekly content and go to week 2, and we'll look at the normal discussion questions that you will have. With them, you're going to have a document, a Word document that you need to download. You can download it by right-clicking on it and hitting Save Link As, Save Target As, whatever. It's going to vary by browser, and then you'll save a copy of that. And I'll kind of open one up for you. And they are going to be reviews for your exam. If it will decide to open. Yeah. And it may not. Let's try that again. Yeah, okay. It doesn't want to open. But, okay, it finally uploaded. I had to pause the video for a minute. It's just simply a Word document. Again, you want to download it. I've got it open here in Google Docs, but you'll simply type your answer to what you think is going to be on the exam for this particular topic.
Here are some results from the web.
Oh, now my phone thinks I'm talking to it. So what you need to do is write a little bit about that topic and include the page number if possible, because that not only will help you, but it's going to help the other students when it comes time to take the exam, because you can use your notes and you can use your book. So if you thought the CSI effect had to do with something and you found it in the book and the question is something different, then you can look at that page number and you can go right to that page after you've completed the entire exam, because you don't want to run out of time on the exam. But when you go back and look at the question, you can then have that page number to make it go a lot quicker. So please do that. You will then save this document on your computer, including your name and discussion number in the name of the file that you save. Then you will, in the discussion question, you will start a post, and we'll go right here to click on the discussion. You'll create a tab, put your name in there, and then you will simply click on Attachment, browse my computer, find the file that you have. Well, again, this computer decided to be real slow today. And then you find the file, and I guess we'll look at gun range operation. And then you will upload that. I got to move out of the way. There you go. And then now you can view other people's. You can't view anybody else's result until you do the upload on it. So that information will be there now. So let's go back to that weekly tab real quick. Some people were reporting difficulty downloading these from the discussion section. So what I've done, I've got a tab in the exam tab where we just simply have all of them listed. So if it doesn't work the first place, then come over here and try to download it in this section where they're all found. If that doesn't work, send me an email and I will send it to you as an attachment. I couldn't figure out what the issue was, but again, with all computer-related tech issues, we always can find a workaround. So while we're at it, we'll go ahead and look at the exam tab. And there will not be any exams visible right now because you haven't done the material that's required of them. Again, the exams will have to be done in Respondus Lockdown Browser. You have a choice of doing that. If you can't get it to work, you can always come to campus. Here on campus, you've got two choices. You come during my office hours or make pre-arrangements with me. You can take it in one of the criminal justice testing areas. We've got a big classroom or we've got a smaller testing room that has 3 computers in it. So one of those 2 rooms will most likely be available for you to take at your own campus. They've got the lockdown browser on them. They don't have cameras, but there's a password that I can get in there for you that allows you to take it. The other option, if it's not during my office hours, if we make pre-arrangements with the testing center here, you will be able to take that over there. And now the thing is, they close early. So the best option is the lockdown browser. If you find someone's computer, the thing is, it works with Windows-based computers. It works with Apple-based, whatever those things are called. And it does not work with the Chromebooks. So if you've got a Chromebook, you need to try to secure someone else's computer or come to campus to take the exams. And again, the exam dates, you can take them in advance. The thing is, you can't move on to, like the first exam covers chapters 1, 2, 3, and 4. You must take the exam before you can go on to chapter 5. That's about all I can think of that we need. If you've got any questions, you send me an email. I'll be glad to answer them. I'm looking forward to working with each one of you this semester. I'm sorry, you got to get used to these kind of boring videos that I'll be playing for you, but they'll also, hopefully, they'll be enlightening. I do want to say that chapter videos can be very important because they've got material in them that is not in the book, and you'll be responsible for that material. They also keep in mind that maybe you don't know it, I embed some bonus questions that are worth 5 points on the exam somewhere in one of the videos. I will say, I'll give you a hint, they're not going to be in the weekly updates anymore because of the fact that you can take the exams early. So I'm not putting them in the weekly updates. They're all going to be in the content videos. So watch those, and you may get the bonus question, kind of an incentive to watch the video. Well, that's about it. We'll talk to you later.